Hello, and welcome to the channel. My name is Johan, and I'm just a typical Dutchman. And I often wonder, why is there such a big gap in how Europe and the United States understand each other? What is missing in the way American history is taught, or in how Europe American history is taught, that makes this gap possible? And to find out, I dive into US history and US related stuff to look for those instances that created these misunderstandings and clear things up on my view. And if you want to learn together with me about the US history, or about everything that makes this gap of misunderstanding closer, smaller, not closer, but smaller, then like and subscribe and follow me, and we will make this gap of misunderstanding smaller. And for now, I'm gonna take a look at a video that's called "Should Americans Move to the Netherlands?" by TNT Go Dutch. I already recognize in the video "Welcome to Woerden," so it's a part of not exactly Amsterdam, but in the region around it. So I'm very curious why, or what is the answer to this question. I will subscribe to the channel. I click on subscribe, but I can select it, but I cannot subscribe. Can I like? No, I cannot even like this video. I'm sorry. I would, but I cannot, and if then I will do it at a later point. The link to the original video will be in the description. And now let's take a look at the tip or the advice if you should or should not go to my country.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to TNT Go Dutch. I'm Travis.
And I'm Tracy.
And today we're going to be talking about something that we've done, which is move across the world from a place in the US, Texas to be specific, all the way to a country we went to once.
Yep.
And what did it...
From Texas, visit the Netherlands, and then move into? Wow. They I guess they did a lot of research before they make such a big move from leaving Texas and coming to my country. I'm living in Woerden. I want to know.
What did we think when we moved here?
That we were crazy.
Yeah, I would say too.
A lot of people, when they first come to Europe, come to the Netherlands specifically, they think, we should move here. This is a great place. You can speak so much English. It's so easy. Let's pack up.
Yeah, English is a second language in the Netherlands. Of course, you can hear it to me. Huh? I'm Dutch, so I've got a strong Dutch accent. But English is in many countries in Europe the second language. So there's not specifically the Netherlands that speak English. But if you go to Germany, you will find there are enough Germans who can speak English. And if you go to Belgium or go to Spain or you can get around again with English. But I think that the Netherlands is in general the nation that has more people with English as second language than, for example, in France or in Germany or in Italy, Spain or any other.
Our entire lives and move over.
But the reality is it's not for the faint of heart. So to answer the question, should Americans move to the Netherlands?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Probably not. Okay. Then I want to know why.
And this is why.
Thank you.
We've got quite a few reasons and quite a few things that we want you to be fully expecting before you move over and have a full education of what you're going to expect.
I hope that they did. I hope that they did their research before they came to the Netherlands. What if you do not do due diligence on the research of the Netherlands, you can get a surprise in the cultural differences that there is between the United States and Europe. That's the whole purpose of this channel, to explain there is and where is it coming from.
See.
By no means are we experts.
No.
These are just some of the things that we personally have experienced. And like you said, a good way to educate yourselves before you decide to make a big leap thousands of miles away from your home.
With that, though, we have actually left our city of Leiden,
Yes.
and we're exploring another city.
Ah, they're from Leiden. Leiden, city of the university. University of Leiden. Okay.
We are in Woerden today, which is just a train stop outside of Utrecht if you're coming from Leiden, Station Lammerslans.
Yeah.
Yeah. They are in the region of Utrecht. It's the middle of the Netherlands. It's on the border of Amsterdam, Schiphol as the national airport.
So we don't really know what to expect. It's not going to be like one of our city videos where we're diving really deep into it, but we did want to take you along with us as we explore the city and share with you our thoughts on if Americans should move here or not.
So we'll get right into that list. But first, I think we should have a quick cup of coffee and get into it.
Always a cup of coffee. Let's go.
Let's go.
Let me adjust the volume here because the music was rather loud. A bit more. The small small alleys leading into the church area. It was a small village, but it's getting bigger and bigger. Typical souvenir shop. Oh, an iced coffee with, I guess it's an iced coffee. Yeah, with stroopwafel.
Tracy, what's our number one thing that people should think about before they move over to the Netherlands?
Well, I don't know if it's necessarily in this order, but space is a big one. And
Yeah.
that's our number one.
And you see this because a lot of the living space that you have is going to be a lot different here than it would be in the US.
Yeah, okay. Space as in living space. We are a small country. And we are with almost 19 million people and getting about 100 to 150,000 refugees each year into our country. That's give a lot of trouble. And now these days, 2025, we're talking about, we are struggling, even the people who are living in the Netherlands, to find a house. Young people can hardly find a house if they want to leave their parents and gonna live on their own with their husband or wife. it's hard. So nowadays it's almost, let's say, we need to build a city a year only to keep up with the requests that we have from refugees and our own people. So that's a lot of discussion in the government, of course. And if we have expats, you're welcome. But yeah, you have to take in considering it's not that easy to get or to buy a house here in the Netherlands or for any case in any other European country. Because all the nations in Europe have the same problem with immigrants coming from all over the conflicts areas to the Netherlands. And we're not talking about the Ukrainians because they are coming because they are refugees from a war, but all other nations all connected to, they are not a problem, but they are the ones that also causing in that there's no living space.
Like, for example, for about what we have now, it's maybe a quarter of the space that we had in the US.
Yeah, things are a lot more spread out. You most likely will share walls with a neighbor.
Here you will, yeah.
Yeah, for sure, especially if you're living in the Randstad, where the Netherlands is the most populous. You may get some more space if you move outside of the Randstad. The likelihood of you doing that, though?
Yeah.
The Randstad, where she's talking about, is an area of several cities between Utrecht, Amsterdam, Rotterdam, and all the cities in between those. It's all called the Randstad. It's where 50% of our nation lives and works. And if you want to leave the Randstad, like I am not from the far off it. I live about 200 kilometers away, 200 kilometers away from the Randstad. Yeah, you can live and have some more space, but I too, in my apartment, now in my drive-in, I have to share the walls with both of my neighbors, but we don't hear each other. But getting free space to build your own home, hardly, and in the Randstad, almost impossible.
So you end up spending a lot of your time, your outdoors time, because many of the places here are apartments. You end up sharing it with other people in outdoor spaces. There's lots more community parks, and the community parks are actually used here quite a bit.
Yeah, and that actually is a nice benefit of living here. The likelihood that you're going to have a big yard, probably not likely.
Yeah.
One thing you'll also notice when you're looking at space and your living space, and Dutch housing specifically, is the Dutch like to build up and not necessarily out. And a lot of that has to do with historical tax purposes, right?
So it used to be that you were taxed, it may still be, that you were taxed on how much of your house actually frontage on the road or the main street. So you may have a house that's only 4 meters across, but it's also 3 stories tall, 4 stories tall. Our neighbors have that, where they have a 3-story house that's not very wide, but it's so that you can take advantage of it. And that's actually the reason why we have Dutch stairs.
Taxes. He's talking about being taxed for your living space. That has to do with the value of your property. And the value of your property is determined by a lot of more things than that they say as the connection to the public space, to a street or something. It has also to do in how near you are to a shopping mall, train station, bus stop, etc., etc. Lots of things, nature, all those determine the value of. So and that's based on. So it's not only when you go up that you sorry.
Now, if you watch some of our videos, you know how Tracy feels about Dutch stairs. But on the whole, you may also end up in some of these bigger cities living on the third or fourth floor, and some of them don't have any type of elevator or such. So if you have, like, for example, Eric from Soul to Soul, when he had his incident recently, he had to walk down the stairs because they wouldn't have been able to fit a gurney or had an elevator to take him down.
Yeah, that's the history of the older buildings. Yeah, some of those buildings are 100 years or older, so they didn't have any elevators in those times. And when buildings are renovated, sometimes they bring in an elevator, but most of the times, especially in the bigger cities, you won't find an older apartment complex with an elevator. It's not done.
Yeah, very different.
This also takes us into number 2, which
This
is
is a big one.
the housing scarcity that exists here in the Netherlands. So even if you can manage to get over here, it's going to be really hard to find a place to live. We've had people, a lot of the Facebook groups we're in for Americans moving over here, they're waiting months and spending weeks trying to find housing.
Yeah, that's what I already told in the start of this topic. Yeah, it's hard. It's not because of the Americans, it's just in general, it's hard to find. And waiting for an apartment to buy or to rent is done, but you pay a heck of a lot more rent if you want to rent an apartment very soon. But to buy, if you're lucky, you can find a home within 3 or 4 months, but then you pay also 115 to 150% more on the ask price than that you would expect it, because there's so much competition.
And unfortunately, there's a lot of people preying on immigrants who are coming over here. There's a lot of scams in terms of housing. So if it's too good to be true, it probably is.
Scams I'm not familiar with, but people taking advantage of it, yeah, they are.
We were really fortunate in our housing situation, but I mean, I think had you been 2 hours later on Parias, we probably would not have gotten the house that we did.
And if you want to see how we did that, we have a video where we talk a little bit about that. But it is definitely one of the situations, if you're coming up here thinking that you're going to bring 800 euros a month for a bedroom, 1-bedroom
In
apartment.
Amsterdam?
Yeah.
Thinking.
In Amsterdam, yeah. Yeah, no, you won't make it with 800 a month for a space in Amsterdam. And even outside Amsterdam, it's anywhere. Take along $800 he's talking about. Yeah, we're talking easily about 900 to 1,000 euros to rent a place. And if you want to rent a fully a place privately owned by somebody else, just by another citizen, not by a corporation, but someone like me, for example, then a rent price of 1,200 to 1,500 and 2,000, no problem. 2,000 euro a month, yeah.
Again, adjust your expectations big time, and you're probably going to need way more money than you think you do.
Yeah, and it's also on top of that, you know, the electricity bills, the heating bills, all of those types of stuff start to add up really fast. So when you are coming over here, really think about the space that you're looking for. Maybe if you go out a little further east, you can find something, or you come to a smaller town like this one, you might be able to find something as well, but you're going to have to commute. It's just like living in the bigger cities in the U.S. where if you go out to the suburbs, you get a little bit more space.
Yeah, we don't know the term suburbs, but yeah, if you're going to live and want to find an apartment and you're willing to commute, and that's the great benefit, is that public transportation to anywhere in the Netherlands or in Europe is great. So you can choose to live outside the Randstad and go like they do, Woerden or any other nation, part of the nation, and travel to your work by train or by bus or by tram, or it's all possible and rather fast and good and cheap, cheaper than a car.
So if you are planning on making the leap, definitely bookmark all of those Dutch housing sites and jump on it as soon as you can, because it's incredibly competitive. Things tend to go well over asking, and
a lot of the times they will go the same day that they're posted. So
it's pretty crazy, and I don't see any signs of it slowing down. So definitely adjust your expectations when it comes to housing.
And be on top of it every day. Check it if you're looking for a place. Tracy, I've heard this one quite a few times.
Are you talking about on a personal experience?
Absolutely. And what is it?
Contrary to what you may think, it is not a European vacation.
It's not like when you come to Europe for a week and you go to 3 different cities because you're American and you want to fit as much in as possible.
Because you only have 2 weeks vacation.
So we're guilty of that. We've done that before. But once you're here, it's not like that at all. You're busy with life.
Like trying to find a reasonably priced dry cleaner, or going to the grocery store, going to the market, finding a dentist, a doctor. Life goes on, picking up Tabasco's poop. I mean, like, that is the less glamorous side that you don't see on an Instagram feed. And yes, we travel because it's a little bit more accessible over here. But it is not on the day-to-day a European vacation.
And I had a friend that told me he felt like he'd get bored of traveling around and doing stuff. It's not like we wake up every day, you and I, and have go out for croissants and coffee for breakfast, and then pop around and walk through the canals for a couple of hours, and then how are we going to have lunch? All of that type of stuff. We're busy. We have jobs.
We hit the snooze button like everyone else.
Yeah, it's just life.
Yeah, life goes on, and like I said, contrary to what you may see on social media.
Yeah, okay. Good point. It's not a vacation, but depend on your job and how much you make, of course, etc. Yeah, I cannot add this positive or negative. It's life goes on.
It is not the monotonous day-to-day stuff. That stuff still happens here. Life goes on, and people live here.
Like at King's Day, after King's Day was done, I think I slept for 12 hours.
Oh yeah, but that wasn't going on Instagram.
The next one will be that it's sometimes challenging to integrate. And by sometimes, I mean all the time.
All the time.
A lot of Dutch people, as well as American people, make their friend groups pretty early on in life.
Yeah, from a very young age. And coming in as a foreigner, it's very hard to break into those groups and those bonds. It's one of the things I really appreciate about the Dutch people is their loyalty to one another from a young age.
And we've made some friends here. Tammy and Eric, Nick and Tessa. Thankfully, they adopted us and they allow us to come over and hang out with some of their friends. It can also be hard because a lot of people here really won't let you into their friend group if you don't speak Dutch.
Yeah. Getting new relations or building relationships outside work, my advice, if you want to, then don't stick at home, because you only work until, let's say, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Use the evening to find a sport that you can do together with other people, like soccer, like tennis, like any team sport, and you will be integrated and find new friends and be accepted, etc. If you stay at home, watch Instagram or YouTube, and you don't go out, then it's hard, because on the work floor in your company that you work, if you don't speak Dutch, then you don't get the humor that we do. You don't get the jokes we do. You don't get the right connection, because there is always that wall between Americans, English, and Dutch. And yeah, it's making it hard. If you want to integrate, then you need somehow learn to speak Dutch, and that's hard. I know it's one of the hardest languages to learn in Europe, but if you speak Dutch, then it will go better. So that's my advice if you want to come.
Yeah, and I think that is partly because it is, although the Dutch are incredibly proficient in English, they may have a harder time expressing themselves, just like we would trying to speak Dutch. So that is a challenge in itself. And another challenge of living here, just like any other country, is the Dutch are mostly welcoming to immigrants, but we have encountered many people who are not and who do not want you here, and we hear it constantly, and no matter how much you hear it, it still stings a little bit. Try not to take it personally, but yeah, there are people who tell you to go back to your home country. They don't want you here.
Yeah, that's the politics, and part of it is, I don't think it's against Americans per se, but against immigrants, because of what we started with in this video is there is not enough housing, and Dutch go first is a current government take on. So the leading party at this point in 2025 in the Netherlands prefers Dutchman first and then the rest. So yeah, it's because of the shortage of work and the shortage of living space that creates that environment against people from outside, any foreigner, either from Europe or from outside Europe. Yeah, you will find people who will say, go back to America, or go back to Germany, or go back to, because you're taking away my living space, or the living space of my son, and etc. Yeah, you will find them, but that's everywhere. I cannot imagine that in America everyone is as welcomed as here in the Netherlands it is.
Yeah, a lot of people think that you're taking Dutch jobs away and
Dutch housing
away. So that's kind of hard to deal with, but it is really a struggle. And if you want to make friends, more than just expat friends, you really, really have to work at it.
Yeah, you have to put yourself out there. It's really, really hard, especially as an adult, to make those bonds. But, hey, we're determined, and keep going.
I reacting off time too soon to the things that they say, because they actually got to say what I say too. Waar rook is in klungel aan het werk. Nice verb, but it says, where there is smoke, there is a, how you call it in English? A nitwit? Yeah. Where smoke is a nitwit on the job. It's not even close to a real proverb we have here. It's the first time I see it too. Yeah, water tower. It's a classical water tower. Don't think that we still use those things. It's because it's the history, and we renovate them when possible. It gives a good view to the landscape. So, but we don't use water towers.
Number 5 is going to be the salary here. Median salary for the Netherlands is a lot lower than you would expect. In the, 30s, thousands for people who are just getting started. Now, thankfully, we were able to move over with a 30% ruling, so we're able to get a little bit of a tax break on things. But compared to what I made in the US, it's definitely a lot less. I think we ended up going about 2/3 of what I made in the US, which is a big step. But we're also not paying for a lot of things. So that does help offset it quite a bit.
Yeah, it does. And for the taxes that we do pay and will pay if we choose to stay, eventually you do get quite a bit in return.
And that's not just in like a tax refund like you get in the US. It's actually in social services as well that work. You have a lot of employment benefits that come along with, like, if you ever do lose your job, the ability to stay. If you get burnt out, you get the ability to take time off at a little bit of a reduced pay, but be able to get your mind right and get things settled. But
your pension,
yeah,
things like that. But yeah, again, it kind of goes back to the housing situation. Whatever money you think you're going to need for the move, you need a lot more.
Mm-hmm. And on top of it, it's just the shock of saying, for example, if you make $100,000 in the US for the same job, you might be making $60,000.
Yeah.
That's a big step.
Yeah. So again, just educating yourself on the situation and come over with way more than you think you need.
Yeah. He's right. You don't make as much money here as that you would in the United States. And he's talking about that you pay taxes and you get in return some social security. Your pension is paid for. You have paid sick days. You have a paid vacation. You have, when you have kids, your kids, until they, I think 12, you get extra money from the government for your kids' clothing, feeding, education. But the most part is, that's what I think, I'm not totally sure about how it is in the United States, but in the United States, you have to have a car to get to your job. And to have a car is expensive because you need to buy a car. In the Netherlands, you don't need to have a car to get to your job. So those costs are out of the door. No cost for your car, no cost for your insurance. And if you have an insurance and you buy a car, it's good to have a car. I have a car too. Then your insurance includes the tax is about 125, 140 a month. And I believe that sometimes in the United States you pay, what, 300, 400, 500? I'm not sure, dollars. The same is for healthcare. You don't have to pay healthcare. Healthcare is free or almost free. And your healthcare insurance here in the Netherlands and most of in Europe is about, depending how much you want to spend out of the pocket, but it's about 150 to 200 a month versus whatever it is in the United States. So you earn a lot more in the United States, but you need that money to pay your bills. Electricity, 80 to 100 a month. Water, 80 to 100 a year. HOA, we don't have it. Everything is done by the government, by locals. So there is a lot of money that you don't get from the company for your job, but it's also that there is a lot of money you don't need to do some things in the Netherlands. That's some money that you actually need in the United States simply to live or to do work. And yeah, so you earn less, you pay taxes like you do, but you get a lot of it in return, and your general living costs in the Netherlands and in Europe in general are low. much lower than you think and that you have in the United States.
Eyes open. Be ready for it.
Yep.
What do you think of this city?
I think we may need to do a city spotlight on it.
It is very, very cute. Lots of water and stuff around. Very gezellig.
Gezellig. He tried it. Yeah. Sounds good.
I sound like a broken record, but man, the city is charming. Yeah.
Every city she goes
I
to.
know. And if you do happen to take the leap of faith and move over here, don't sleep on the smaller cities because you're missing out on so much. Yes, go to the big cities, but also go to the little tiny ones and smaller ones.
And remember that the big cities are only like a half hour away by train, and
But we're like 10 minutes from Utrecht Central, so totally worth
checking out.
yeah. Number 6, the Netherlands is not as much of a liberal progressive playground as you may think.
A lot of people hear of, that there's the first legal gay marriage here in the Netherlands.
Yeah, I was thinking the video is from 2 years ago. So 2 years we had the Liberal Party. Yeah,
They hear about the sex work.
let's hear what they have to say about the liberal freedoms
They
we
hear
have.
about the drug culture that's available here.
There's a lot of work that's being done on climate change, like particularly at the airport. So there are things like that that are progressive.
Let's go back.
Number 6, the Netherlands is not as much of a liberal progressive playground as you may think.
A lot of people
Playground. No, it's not a playground. No, it's not.
hear of, that there's the first legal gay marriage here in the Netherlands. They hear about the
Same-sex marriage, not a problem. Yep.
sex work. They hear about the drug culture that's available here.
Yeah, like in some United States, I know it's legal to have a small amount of soft drugs with you or grow for your own use. It's allowed. Yeah.
There's a lot of work that's being done on climate change, like particularly at the airport. So there are things like that that are progressive compared to other countries.
And a lot of people seem to think that those are indicators that the whole country is progressive.
Much like the United States, though, there is very much a spectrum of political affiliations.
Yeah, from left to extreme right. Yeah.
From far left to far right. So you will encounter that, experience that here. And I would say a major difference with politics is just the sheer amount of political parties that you can belong to here.
There's dozens and dozens of political parties.
Yeah, dozens and dozens is a little bit more. It's 2 years ago. Yeah, it did not change that much. You're talking about 13, 14 different political parties you can affiliate to or vote for or don't vote. Yep.
Parties, like over 30 something, I think.
No. When you have over 30, it's meaning that in the city and all the cities in the Netherlands, yeah, then you have a lot of parties, but those are local government parties and not federal.
When
I
there
feel
was
like there's more than that.
when they had the latest election for the Water Council, it was
For the Water Council. Yeah.
2 full-page spreads of just the people. It feels complicated to us, and it's also complicated to Dutch people. We know some people that take an online quiz to figure out who they should vote for, like a BuzzFeed quiz of which of the Disney princesses are you, for which of the political parties is most aligned up with what you feel.
I think it's
Yeah. It's each time, every 4 years, when you have to make a choice for which party you're going to choose, you can do an online pop quiz with the most hot topics for that moment. And then there are 15 or 20 questions with those topics and how you feel about those topics. And if you are more central, then they will advise you, no, you can vote for this party. They have those topics positive and those topics negative, or you can choose for that party. So yeah, yeah, it's not as black and white as Republican or Democrats. No.
It's probably a little more serious than that,
But it is an online quiz for it.
yeah, no, and that makes sense when you have 50 maybe parties. I don't know. We'll put the actual number.
Around 70. No. That's for the water shop. Nah. No, it's people, but not parties. No. This is not good. This is not right. But 70 people being available from all those parties, yeah.
Number here.
Just like the US, you have some places that are
I will, in editing, put a voting form in the video so you can see.
very liberal and some places that are very conservative.
That's meant by the church.
Yeah, there's something for everyone.
Some regions are more lean to Christians, to be a Christian and to be a good Christian, and other people are atheist, and that's where you find the differences between progressive or conservative. And in the smaller cities away from the Randstad, you will find more villages who are conservative because of their beliefs. Yeah. Yeah, this is what you see. That's a good example. That's what you see at some buildings, that we have an older building renovated, and then on the outside of the building, they make a staircase with an elevator. When there is space, they would do this.
One complicated thing about moving to another country is how your citizenship works.
Yeah, unfortunately, the United States and the Netherlands don't have a treaty, pact, agreement that you can be a dual citizen of both countries.
Yeah, okay.
Easily. There are some ways to do it, but on the whole, it is not really allowed if you're moving over.
So the time frame for becoming a Dutch citizen is about the 5-year mark when you need to do your inburgering.
Yep, which is a set of tests that you have to take. 3 of them are language.
One of them is culture/history.
Mhm.
So we've still got a few more years to prepare.
But with that, you may end up in a situation where you lose your American citizenship, and denouncing your citizenship from any country is not something to be taken lightly.
Yeah, so it's definitely a situation where you need to weigh the pros and cons. If you're planning on staying here for a very long time, are you willing to give up your American passport?
Yeah, it's true. If you want to be a part of the Netherlands, then you have to give up and that's not only the Netherlands, it's in Europe in general, in the Schengen area. If you want to live, you have to leave your US citizenship behind. And a lot of people coming over to Europe have had it. I had it with the US, and they leave. And they do not care that they have to give up their citizenship. But if you still have ties to the United States and you're in doubt if you will or will not come over too, yeah, this is a valid point you really should think about, because if you want to live, and they talk about 5 years, and that's a long time, 5 years, because I was a teacher at a school that we taught inburgering to new citizens to become a citizen. It's the same like if I come from Europe to the United States to get a green card. It's the same. Get a green card.
For a Dutch one, there are pros and cons to each. What does that look like? Do you plan on ever moving back to the United States? There's a lot of questions that you need to think of. And like you said, it should not be taken lightly. It's a big deal.
It's a big deal. Yeah. You should really think about it if you want to live here. That's why I was surprised that they say they visited one time and came over. Even, wow, then you would have done a lot of research. And I get the sense from this video, it's the first time I see a video of them, that they find out the hard way that they should have done more research and are warning their fellow Americans to do your research.
The last one I think that we're going to talk about today is the convenience culture.
Yeah, if you are serious about moving over here, you need to start weaning yourself off of the convenience, need it now type of mentality that's very prevalent in the United States.
Like Amazon delivery just became a thing here, like 2 or 3 years ago? So it's still relatively new. If you're used to the 24-hour cycle that is American convenience culture, being able to go to Walmart at 3 a.m. and buy groceries, buy a pair of pants, buy whatever it is that you think you need at that moment, it's not really a thing here.
No, it's definitely not a thing here. 24 hours as in deliveries, and he's talking about Amazon, but we have another company, it's called bol.com. A lot of other companies too, except for Amazon, but they will deliver almost everything you need within 24 hours. Not be able to go to Walmart at 3 a.m. or in any other shop in the Netherlands is because we have 9 to 5, or for shops it's usually 8 to 8, 12 hours a day. Half the time of a day you are able to do your shopping. And then it's it, because we work to live and we don't live to work. So yeah, that means that sometimes if you want to have free time at the evening, that things will be closed. And most shops, if we're talking about most shops in the Netherlands, and that's specifically for the Netherlands because I traveled around Europe and I know for sure that Germany doesn't, but in the Netherlands it's almost every shop 7 days a week. Almost every shop is, especially groceries, is 7 days a week, and most of those days are from 8 in the morning till 8 or 9 in the evening, except on Sunday. Then it's from 8 in the morning until 6 in the evening or something. But in Germany, all closed at Sunday. No matter what, nothing there. Sunday is the holy day, the day to rest, nothing, anything. If you need something in Germany at that point, you need to go to a fuel station and a gas station, and then you can find something that you may need.
Yeah, the Dutch culture is very supportive of people who work in stores, and it's nice that they get to go home at a reasonable time and have dinner with their families or have days off. Like, it was just King's Day.
Yeah, okay. Again, I was too early with my comments. See, yeah.
The other day, and a lot of the shops were closed. Some were open, but yeah.
It's really a situation where you're going to find yourself looking to do something those first couple of months and realizing that store doesn't open till noon on Sunday, or it's closed at 5 or 6 on a regular day. There are some days that have extended hours for most cities.
Mm-hmm. In Leiden, it's Thursdays.
In other cities like Rotterdam, it could be Saturday or Friday, I believe.
So our best advice is to just plan ahead.
Yeah, and be ready for that thing that you need right now, having to wait.
Probably don't need it.
I think that takes us all the way through to the end.
I think so. There's probably some things we missed.
Well, we did miss a lot of stuff when it comes to talking about like your family, your friends. You're going to miss out on life events. You're going to miss out on the things that occur back. Time doesn't stand still just because you moved away.
Yep, there's weddings, birthdays, deaths, holidays. I mean, all those types of things you give up. What you get in return, that's up to you and whether you decide it's worth it or not.
Yeah. And it's still something we struggle with. Like, the homesickness just hits you sometimes. Sometimes you're sitting and you're just like, oh, I just really want to like hug my family.
Yeah.
Or I just really want a corn dog. That's...
It's more like a Costco hot dog. Sometimes I miss a Costco hot dog.
But I know we miss more.
Yeah,
if you have made the move over and you have some things that you would like people to know before they make the move over, specifically Americans, put them down in the comments down below so that you can help other people just like we're trying to help people right now.
Yeah, and although we're trying to be cheeky and say, no, you shouldn't do it, if you're really determined and you have a lot of willpower and strength, you can make it work. It is not easy by any stretch of the imagination, and don't let anyone tell you that it is, because it is really freaking hard.
It is hard, but it can be worth it. You can get to explore new things. You can see a new way of life. Try some foods you never thought you would have had before. But all in all, if it's worth it, it's going to be your own decision.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us this week and watching this video. Slight little plug, if you don't follow us on Instagram, consider giving us a follow at TNT Go Dutch. When this video releases, we'll actually be traveling in Rome.
Yeah.
So we don't film our videos when we go to other countries, but we do post on Instagram and Facebook. So you can follow us there, and we will.
Yeah. Okay. Good video. Good advice. And I hope that I add some advice to it if you're watching it. Yeah. My general opinion is, and I'm always straightforward, they should have done much more research before they came over. And because it feels to me like that they are really now a part of homesick. And if they went to Rome, to Italy, Rome, they live in Leiden. From Leiden to Rome, it's about 12, 14, yeah, 12, it's Utrecht, yeah, Milan, Rome, yeah, 14 hours by train, then you're in Rome, so it's within a day, by train, you can be in Rome, have a dinner, sleep over, and be on leaving on Friday, go to Rome, have a hotel for one night, and you'll be back on Monday to start a new work week and be back on your work in a weekend. It's possible when you live in Europe. Why not say when you live in the Netherlands, but anywhere in Europe, you can travel all over within 24 hours. Everything is reachable by train. Not necessarily need an airplane or a car. Good. I hope that you enjoyed the video. If you did, like and subscribe if you want to see more of this kind of content. Leave a comment. What do you think that is a good or is not a... Leave a comment if what you think could be or is a good advice if you want to go to the Netherlands or to Europe. See you in the next video.